Welcome to the Natural Super Kids podcast, where you will discover practical strategies to inspire you to boost the health and nutrition of your kids. I'm Jessica Donovan, a qualified naturopath specialising in kids' health, and I want to make it as easy as possible for you to raise healthy and happy kids. Let's get into it. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Natural Super Kids podcast. It's so great to have you here today. Now, over the past, I think it's like 5 or 6 weeks, we've been focusing on immune health. But today we are switching gears, and I have a very special guest here with me today. It is Mel Kirkwood, who is a valued member of the team here at Natural Super Kids. And I'm here, we're both here to have a bit of a chat and to introduce you to Mel, who is also a qualified nutritionist and is starting to offer nutrition consults for Natural Super Kids. So hello, Mel, welcome.
Hello, how are you?
I'm very good, thank you. How about you?
Yeah, it's good to be on the podcast on this side of the podcast. Normally I'm listening to you and dictating your show notes. So it's a bit strange to be on this side.
Yeah. Yeah. So Mel is responsible. One of the many things that Mel does at Natural Super Kids is to write our podcast show notes. So let's go straight into introducing you. I'm going to let you introduce yourself. So tell us a little bit about yourself and more about your role here at Natural Super Kids.
Yeah, sure. So I'm Mel. Nice to meet you all. I live in Brisbane with my partner and our miniature schnauzer, Augie. I am a qualified clinical nutritionist. I graduated last September. And I'm also a postpartum doula. So I started studying that earlier in the year and I finished in around May. My job and my role with Natural Super Kids is very multifaceted. I guess it has 3 kind of main parts. The first being customer support. So I support our members with just general inquiries to do with their membership, or new members. I kind of help them onboarding and show them where to go. People who, need to be directed to our resources through Instagram and things like that. So people who aren't our members. And then I do take care of all the social media as well. So I do all the show notes for the podcast. I write the newsletter. I create all the social media posts. I answer kind of all the DMs and things like that when Jess isn't available. So, excuse me, I'm really kind of your right-hand woman.
Yes, you are.
And then lastly, I offer one-on-one nutrition consults. So I do that on Wednesday and Friday mornings. So I've just started offering those consultations, and so far it's going really well. So yeah, that's kind of my role in a small nutshell.
Yes. And I just want to say, I just appreciate everything you do so much. You make my job so much easier, and you do so many of the things that I used to do all myself here at Natural Super Kids.
Yeah.
So much better than I I used to do them as well. Like, if you look through our Instagram and see all those amazing infographics, and Mel's just started to do reels as well.
Yes. New talent of mine.
Very exciting that Mel's first reel that she did, that was last week, wasn't it? On healthy cereals you can pick up from the supermarket, did super well, didn't it?
Yeah, it was quite crazy how well it was, considering I'd never done one before. So I was pretty chuffed at how well it did. I think it got like 38,000 views. So
yes.
Yeah, and I'm not very, even though I do the social media, like I'm not very up with trends. Like I'm not on TikTok or anything like that. I feel quite elderly when it comes to the new social media. So Yes, it was quite good to
Yeah, it
get
was
that
very
response.
exciting. But I think your knowledge, your amazing knowledge as a nutritionist just is what helps you do such good social posts, because we're educating people, aren't we?
Yeah,
And teaching them something new and inspiring them. So I think that's
yeah.
where your strength comes in that area.
And I guess that's the whole point of social media, is to educate those that might not have the capacity to have one-on-one consultations, whether
Yes.
that's financial or whether they live rurally or things like that. I guess online consults is now more available, but
Mm.
the whole, I guess, realm of social media is to educate and give people the science behind what we're educating them on.
Mm.
Yeah, for those who you know, can't access it otherwise. So
Yes,
yeah,
exactly. And we were talking about this at our team meeting this week, weren't we? How, a part of our mission is really to be able to help people no matter what their circumstances are. So
yeah,
we're really
exactly.
we're really fortunate to be able to have a team so we can educate on the podcast and through social media. And then, obviously a different level of support for our Natural Super Kids Club members, and then yet another different level of support for through consultations. So we feel really fortunate to be able to do that and offer that to so many people out there.
Yeah.
So let's talk about you becoming a nutritionist. Maybe rewind. What inspired you to start studying to become a nutritionist in the first place?
Yeah. So my journey to becoming a nutritionist is quite long and extensive. So I'll keep it quite short, but
Mm-hmm.
it kind of is three major pivotal moments in my life. So the first one would be my mum was diagnosed with cancer when I was quite young. So when I was 13 to 18, she was unwell. So really kind of at the forefront when I was at school, I studied biology and health and everything like that because I wanted to become a nurse. And then when my mum went into palliative care, it was kind of like, oh, I don't really want to, I guess, work in sick care. Like, I don't want to work in hospitals and things like that. I would prefer to kind of work in preventative health. And then my journey kind of went around and around. Like, I went over to the UK to become a nanny. So I did that for 2 years and then came home and was like, okay, what's next? So I nannied on the Sunshine Coast. That's where I'm from originally. And I actually nannied for a family that were really into nutrition and naturopathy and natural health. And this mum actually inspired me to sign up to naturopathy, which is what I did initially at the start, but I took a detour.
Oh, I didn't know
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, so like in 2011, I think it must have been, end of 2011, I signed up to do naturopathy. I was living on the coast and my campus is in Brisbane, so it's about 100 kilometres, about an hour away. And it just wasn't the right time. So it didn't work out and I kind of was like, no, but I've always had that love for natural medicine and, healing through foods and herbs and things like that. So long story short, I continued to be a nanny. And then that's, I guess, where my love of kind of pediatric health and helping families really came into effect. So over the 10 years, I have nannied for maybe like 35 families.
Wow.
And in that kind of circle of families, I've also been a carer for a dad who had motor neurons disease and also a carer for a little girl who had cerebral palsy. So I've also, and then, I've got the kids who have, fussy eating, food allergies, asthma, constipation, like you name it, I've dealt with it. And I guess being a nanny, you kind of are working with how other families deal with these things. So I guess it's kind of given me a broad range of families and treatment options and things like that. So
yeah, and
that
also,
kind of,
sorry to interrupt, but also
no, you're
just
right.
seeing that struggle, like of those kind of challenges and issues that we so commonly deal with here at Natural Super Kids, like firsthand as the carer of those kids. Yeah.
Yeah. And even I guess on the flip side of that is like I've seen postpartum mental health, postpartum depression. I've seen infants who have cow's milk protein allergies, colic, and things like that. But I've been on the receiving end of it. So, mum who's struggling with mental health because her baby never settles. And then I come in and I'm, holding a baby in a carrier for 8 hours because they don't lay down. They don't go to sleep. So although I don't have my own children, I've very much been in the trenches of, family situations that range from, colicky babies who never sleep to parents who are terminally ill. So I feel like that's given me kind of, as a practitioner, I've seen a lot of things in my lifetime. And so I think that kind of gives me that empathetic nature and a very understanding approach to my treatment plans and things like that.
Yes, definitely. Yeah. I just love that. And I think, as a person who has cared for, or been in the trenches with that many different families, it really gives you that sort of broad experience, doesn't it? That first-hand experience. Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess that's what kind of led me to Kids Health, is where I dealt with kids every single day for 10 years. So I've got a very inquisitive mind. So I was kind of like, well, why is this family reacting to these foods and that family isn't? But and then it kind of, you get into the whole genetics of it and, why one person had a good birth and one person didn't in terms of like preconception care and, when
all the factors.
Digging,
yeah.
When you start digging, you're kind of like, right, it's just this huge big puzzle. And so then that's what led me back to Endeavour, where I studied. And I decided to do nutrition rather than naturopathy, just because I'm 36. So I kind of was like, let's get this over and done with.
Yes.
But never say never. I would love to go back and do the herbal side of it. In a few years, my partner's like, no more study. So for now, I'm kind of, focusing on the nutrition side, but I've still got a huge love for naturopathy and herbal medicine as well.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. I've just learned so much about you in that introduction that I didn't know before. So, not only are our listeners learning more about you, but I'm learning more about you as well. I mean, me and Mel work really closely together where we've never actually met in person.
So strange.
One day we will, because we're on opposite, Mel's in Brisbane, I'm in Adelaide, or south of Adelaide, but we talk on a little app called Voxer.
Yeah.
It's like a walkie-talkie app. Some of you might be familiar with it, multiple times a day. And we're working closely on projects, but we don't get a lot of time to talk about the personal, stuff, particularly stuff in the past. So that's been really interesting for me to learn a bit more about you. So you started at Natural Super Kids. It's been almost a year, hasn't it?
Yes, end of August was when I first started. Yeah.
And so do you remember what attracted you to that job posting that you saw and Natural Super Kids in general?
Yeah, so I, given that I love pediatric health and kids health, I had been following Natural Super Kids for quite some time. Pretty much as like inspiration, that's what I want to be. So when the job came up, I was like, at the end of my studies, so I was just doing my clinic, and if anyone has ever studied a job or studied a degree that requires like placement, you'll understand that the clinical hours is quite grueling. So I was just like dead to the world, and I saw the job post and it offered flexible hours and work from home, and I just thought to myself, that is amazing. Not only is that amazing, but also the fact that I'm at the end of my degree. This is exactly what the industry that I want to work in and the niche that I want to work in. And yeah, you had always been kind of like on my vision board, kind of, you know, inspiration of what is achievable in kids' health.
Mm-hmm.
So I saw it and I took a screenshot and I sent it to one of my friends from uni, and I was like, what do you think? And she's like, yeah, go for it. And I was like, I'm going to and ah about it. And I kind of thought about it. And it sounds a bit crazy now, but I actually put it out into the universe and I was like, okay, if I am to apply for this job, show me a yellow car. Which I haven't told you this.
No.
I, no joke, saw like more yellow cars than I've ever seen. I've got photos of yellow cars because I would send it to my friend from uni and be like, you won't believe it, I saw a yellow car. So the first thing I saw was one of those yellow courier vans. It drove straight past me. And I was like, okay, that's a bit weird. And I was like, show me another one. And then I saw like a yellow punch buggy. And I was like, okay, all right. So yeah, that's just a bit of a bit woo-woo. But I was like, okay, I'm going to take it as a sign.
Yeah.
And then I obviously applied for the job and here I am. So
oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, just trust in, you know, in the universe, I guess. But yeah, it's kind of like this role for me, I think, as a new graduate has been like, it's so important to, again, guess like have mentors and, you know, I think a lot of people graduate and they think that they're going to be earning big money and having booked out out bookings and things like that. And it just doesn't happen. You've got to kind of like, you've got to get in the trenches and learn and grow. And it's just been such a wonderful opportunity for me to kind of be on the other end of a successful business and be able to kind of work in my degree and in this industry without doing the one-on-one consults as well, because, you know, with the club support and when we do our launches and things like that. So
you get so much experience, don't you? Like up until, because only recently you've started offering the one-on-one. So up
so I
until
eased
then,
into it.
Yeah. And I mean, you're able to use that knowledge and expertise in so many different ways. Like even like I said before, like creating the social posts or the infographics, the Instagram. And another big part of your role is to support our members, our Natural Super Kids Club members, and answer their questions, you know, that are specific to their families. And you do such a good job of that. So yeah, that's such a great story.
Yeah. So you're kind of like using your clinical mind and without doing one-on-one consults. So it has been really good as someone who's, you know, graduated last year, to get into that and kind of find the confidence and find my feet.
Definitely. And from my point of view, like as the owner of Natural Super Kids, and now we have like both Sarah, our naturopath, and you, our nutritionist, you know, it's really important for me to find the right people for those roles, because it's you know, I'm not just going to throw any old person into one-on-one consulting or any sort of role in Natural Super Kids, because it's you know, we do have a high level of support, and there's a lot of expertise that's needed for that. And so just the way that you work and like you said before, that really rang true for me. Like you've got that inquisitive mind. I feel like you came into this role with such a great level of knowledge and expertise, even though you were a new graduate back a year ago.
Yeah. I think, you know, we never can stop learning. And, you know, the opportunities are endless now in terms of accessibility to kind of finding the answers to things. So, this role has been so great in that, because it is quite multifaceted. So you're not just doing one thing for, you know, all week. I'm doing so many different things. So that's also something I really, really love, is how varied my role is.
Yes, you're like me, get bored easily doing the same old thing.
And especially when you work at home, you know, you don't have co-workers, you know, as you said, we talk over Voxer, an app, but you don't have that camaraderie in an office. So you've got to have that, you know, varied things
Yeah.
in your day to
To
keep
keep
you
things
going and keep you
interesting.
motivated. Yeah.
Definitely, because it can get lonely working from home, and it's not for everyone. I personally do love it, and I think it's a really good fit for you as well, but it's not
Yeah.
a good fit for everybody. And I was just going to say, with my first consulting role very many years ago, it was in London. I worked in a clinic, and I was really fortunate as well to work with other practitioners that were more experienced. So just that mentoring, I remember feeling like I learned more from them than I did through, all my years of study. And that's the benefit we have at Natural Super Kids. Like, we can kind of put our minds together and inspire each other and teach each other different things as well.
Yeah, exactly. Because we all have different stories, different backgrounds, different
Exactly.
interests as well. So, yeah, it's so great if I kind of come across something and I'm like, oh, I'm just going to see what Jess and Sarah think about this.
Yes.
And I can just, ask you. And the same thing, Sarah contacted us yesterday. So it's really lovely to work in collaboration with people who have, different backgrounds and different interests and things like that, and different knowledge.
Yeah, that brainstorming together, I find that super valuable. So
Yes.
when you do book a consultation with one of our practitioners here at Natural Super Kids, you do really get three minds, on your case or your child's case, which is really helpful and can kind of uncover more quickly. All right. So tell us then, now that you're offering consultations, which is very exciting, and I'm really excited to have that, more nutrition focused practitioner on the team. Tell us some of the specific conditions and issues that you can help with.
Yeah, sure. So I guess my interests are from preconception through to infant nutrition. So that kind of stage of life. So let's say you were planning to have a baby. So I kind of work to make sure that you are eating adequately for, I guess, correct conception. And the same goes for husbands. I think that often dads or male partners get quite forgotten, and the female kind of takes care of it and focuses on their health, and dad's kind of like, oh, it's okay, it doesn't really matter, but it's actually vital. It's probably sometimes more important for dad to be at optimal health. So I just kind of help people with their nutrition and, make sure everything is looking great, there's no deficiencies and things like that, and kind of just guide them through filling the gaps with a whole foods diet and lifestyle changes. And then,
so sorry to interrupt, but I just want to also add that that's so important, not just for, healthy conception, and I guess your best chances of conceiving and getting pregnant, but also for, best chances of a healthy pregnancy and a full-term pregnancy, and then better health for that infant and baby when it's born.
Oh yeah, 100%. Like what you do in preconception impacts your child for the rest of their life. Mm-hmm. So it is so important.
It's the ultimate preventative care, really, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%. So that's a huge passion of mine. I love doing that and helping people with, obviously falling pregnant. And then, I guess through pregnancy and preconception. So pregnancy, making sure mum is eating enough, especially if she's got morning sickness and things like that. Preconception is, if you're breastfeeding and it's multifaceted, because if you've had like a traumatic birth and things like that. So just ensuring and supporting mum through the postpartum phase. And I guess I'm a postpartum doula too. So I kind of work it as a whole, a bit holistically, where making sure that they've got support around them and things like that. And then infant nutrition, so starting solids. I also help with colic, reflux, constipation and things like that in infants, food sensitivities, food intolerances, heaps of things. Whatever you can think of from preconception through to infants. I can help you with. So,
yeah,
I think it's just there's a lot of information out there, especially these days on the internet. So it's just making sure that it's individualized care and guiding them appropriately with, I guess, science to back it up.
yes.
Because there's a lot of misinformation out in the world these days. So it's just making sure that what we offer here is nutrition that's backed by science.
Yeah, that's such a good point. And I think, any of those really common issues through pregnancy and with infants, like that you mentioned, some of those can even, like morning sickness, for example, can be reduced with the right nutrition. And so, it's as you were sort of explaining, it's the earlier you can get onto this kind of care in the preconception phase, the less of those issues through pregnancy and with infants that you can sort of avoid. And the other thing I just wanted to say is that's one thing that I really love about your approach. It's not just all about nutrition and food, and you do have that really supportive aspect, and you're looking at lifestyle. And as you said before, you've got that real strong point in empathy because of your own life experiences. So you've experienced it from the other end, which I think is really important in a practitioner.
Yeah. And often, some things are so easy in terms of treatment plans. It could just be go outside in the sunshine for 20 minutes a day. And then that can just improve things so much. And the same for kids. It's like go outside and allow them to play in the dirt and get those microbes from the dirt and, be outside in nature and getting vitamin D. It's just those simple things that we don't often think about. I think sometimes we can overcomplicate things.
Definitely.
But yeah, it's those simple kind of lifestyle tweaks that can have such a huge impact on our health.
Yes, can make such a big difference. And particularly in that postpartum phase, we've got so much to be thinking about. You do sometimes forget the basics, and a practitioner can be really good at, I think a lot of people are worried about booking in with a naturopath or a nutritionist because they're thinking, oh, they're going to tell me to stop eating all this stuff I love. And there's going to be this real focus on a strict meal plan. But that is not how we roll here at Natural Super Kids.
Not at all. And especially with postpartum, like the most important thing is, apart from support, is boosting oxytocin levels. So if you have a food that you love, I'm not taking that away because that is bringing you joy, and then that is bringing you boosting those oxytocin levels. And I'm not going to take anything away from you.
Yes, I think that's really important to mention. You're going to get loads of bookings from people just for saying that, because we are all about a balanced approach, and that means all of the practitioners here at Natural Super Kids, sort of not abide, but kind of go with that. We choose our practitioners based on that. We're not that sort of perfectionist. You're going to get 8 or 10 different supplements that you have to take every day. We focus on, the foundations first, the lifestyle, the simple habits that you can change that do make a big difference, that may not be like new to you, but you might not be doing them regularly. And then using supplements like nutrition and nutritional supplements or herbs when it comes to naturopathy to kind of fill the gaps.
Yeah, exactly. I think that in this day and age, everybody is so busy. So we don't want to overcomplicate their life anymore, because the chance of them not going forward and not proceeding with the treatment plan is so high. So if we can keep it to just simple tweaks, that will have, a huge impact. That's kind of my approach to treatment plans, that's for sure. Because I know myself, if I get a big, treatment plan where I have to take a huge amount of supplements and, I'm on a strict diet, I just won't do it.
Yeah.
So I think I take that into effect when I'm helping others. I'm like, is this sustainable?
Yes. Is it something I could do?
Yeah. And that's the whole, I guess, benefit of having one-on-one individualized care is you can be honest with your practitioner and just say, look, this is not going to work for me. I can't, I don't know, take all these supplements or something like that,
yes.
for example. So then you work with your practitioner to get to the root cause of your problem, that in an achievable way that will suit your lifestyle, rather than bombarding you with a bunch of things that's just not achievable.
Definitely. That's such a good point and such a good way to end. So thank you so much for coming on and introducing yourself. I know this was a bit out of your comfort zone. Yes. But you've done so well, and we are going to be chatting to Mel on the podcast more often. I know we're going to be doing an episode next week specifically on colic, and she's going to share her knowledge and expertise and some tips on that. So stay tuned for that. And if you're wanting help with preconception, fertility, pregnancy, like staying as healthy as you can through pregnancy, or if you've got particular ailments in pregnancy that you want a solution for, or infant health, the things that Mel sort of listed, any sort of infant nutrition issues, starting solids, constipation, food intolerances that are so common in those under ones, well, kids in general, but under ones particularly, reflux, eczema even, then you can head on over to our book a consultation page and find out all the details you need about booking in with Mel. We'll make sure that link is in the show notes. So thanks so much, Mel.
Thank you.
See you later, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me on the podcast today. Head on over to our website, naturalsuperkids.com, for the show notes for this episode, as well as a whole heap of inspiration to help you raise healthy and happy kids. I'll see you next week.